What is good, Tesla family? It's Ray J back with another video, and in this one, I'm going to be talking about the one and only Tesla stock and explain why on earth Tesla took a big hit today. I'm also going to talk about what I think the overall trajectory is for Tesla. Are we just going to continue to crash? Is Tesla going to drop really hard, or are we actually going to get a nice bounce and continue to run up for perhaps the next week or so before we see a big change after the FOMC meeting? Now, before I break any of this down, before I talk about what Elon Musk just said about the market and the economy and Tesla as well, and what Joe Biden, the president of the United States, actually said in response to that, and how all these things are affecting Tesla. Before I say anything about that, I do have to mention a couple of things. I'm not a financial planner, so don't take any of this as financial advice. And also, if you guys can, please smash the like button if you want to see more videos like this. It not only benefits me, benefits the entire Tesla community as a whole. And the last things, if you guys can, please check out the Webull link down below and in the description. If you sign up for Webull, the link down below, and deposit any amount of money into the account, you're guaranteed 6 free stocks, each worth up to $2,000. Now, you could always sell these 6 free stocks for cash and use that cash to buy some Tesla shares for free in this limited time offer that ends in just 6 days. So please check it out before they run out. With that out of the way, let's get on with the video. So in my video from yesterday, right, I was showing this upward trend that was continuing. Tesla actually looked kind of bullish, and I thought it was more probably to kind of push up. But then this morning, early in the morning, I woke up like super early and I saw the news about what Elon Musk said about Tesla, and I realized, oh no, we're actually going to take a big hit. And in my previous video from yesterday, I didn't necessarily know he would say that, right? If he didn't actually say that, the whole market could have actually responded differently. So could have Tesla. And as a response to this, right, Tesla took a big hit. But I actually released a video early in the morning, right before the market opened, and I warned everyone about this. It was just a few minutes, like 5 or 10 minutes before the market opened. And I apologized if sometimes these predictions aren't always going to be perfect, because sometimes unexpected things happen, right? There's no way I could have seen Elon Musk saying this or seen this news, because it came out like a little bit before the market ended up opening. So like I said before, sometimes things like that happen. I want to talk about why we actually dropped like this. And now what's happening with the markets? Because in my previous videos, okay, see where this horizontal line is? I'm sorry, this vertical line. I don't know what I'm saying. This vertical line right here from 6:15, this would be the FOMC meeting. And this is when the Fed is going to announce some changes to the monetary policy, if they're going to raise rates again, if they're going to raise the federal funds rate by another 50 basis points, and what they're going to be doing with the quantitative easing policies, right? This is going to be a big day for the markets. And my initial thoughts, and I said this like 2 weeks ago, I predicted that the market would find a bottom, get a nice bounce, and I thought it would continue to push up until this meeting. As we came close to it, then we'd start to push down. Well, next week, it's going to be the last normal week before the FOMC meeting starts. Okay? So I think that it still is possible for us to actually kind of recover a little bit, trade a little bit sideways, and have some upward momentum. And Tesla could actually push up just a little bit more for maybe the next like week to week and a half before we get somewhat of a rejection and start dropping again. So that's essentially what my prediction was, and I'm still kind of standing by that. So why did Tesla drop like 9%, right? And I'm sure many of you heard what Elon Musk said. I'm going to actually go back to what he exactly said. So Elon Musk essentially asked many Tesla executives that he wants to pause all hiring. Okay, and he wants to cut staff by 10%. This is going to reduce costs for the company, reduce liabilities, and he's essentially stating this because he has a super bad feeling about the economy. And this is kind of hinting at the points he made in the past, that we're currently in a recession. He does think bad things are essentially going to come. It's the uncomfortable truth. So what does this mean for Tesla and the market going forward as well? Well, in response to this, and this is also not good, Joe Biden kind of, I wouldn't say he dismissed it. He kind of just, he was kind of speaking gibberish. I don't know what he really said, but he didn't really take this too seriously, in my opinion. That's just my opinion. And it's not good for that to be the case, because this is a real issue. Big changes need to be made. And I can understand if the intention is to keep the public calm. I totally understand that. But the problem is, there are only so many lies you could tell to the people. Eventually, you have to tell them the uncomfortable truth that these issues, inflation, the recession, the excess printing, all these things are going to have a negative effect on our economy, on everyday people's spending power. the lives of everyday individuals, and we need to take action now. We should have taken action far before. Something needs to be done, okay? So how will this affect Tesla? And that's the reason why I keep talking about the fact that I hate to say this, but even though we are in a temporary relief rally, I still think we're going to continue on this relief just a little bit. I don't think we're at the end of it just yet. And I mentioned this before, okay? I calculated the bottom in the past. Once we find our top, I don't know where Tesla's going to peak at, whether it's like 820, 830, 850, somewhere there. We may even fill this gap up here. It's possible. I don't want to promise it, but it's possible. But eventually, I see more downside kind of coming a little bit later, after a couple of weeks, after a few months. And it's possible that Tesla drops below 620 again. That's essentially what I think will come. Are we there yet? Not necessarily. I can't promise that yet. And we have a lot of FOMC meetings still coming up for June, July, September, November. All these things will have their effects. So, what's my view on Tesla? What could I actually say? Now, when I make predictions, okay, I can't always be right because sometimes Elon Musk could say something unexpectedly the day after and it kind of like changes everything. Sometimes we don't even run on fundamentals, we don't even run on technicals. Sometimes unpredictable things could come. So here's what I want to warn you about. Tesla today, if I bring up the 1 minute candles, we held 700. We actually managed to hold above 700. I don't know why this was adjusted wrong, but we actually held 700 quite well, which is a pretty good sign. And we're very oversold on the RSI. If I actually pull up the RSI, you could see we're kind of in this oversold range. Let me use the 1 hour candles just to show you. Look at how much we dropped over like the last trading day. The RSI was in like 70s almost. Now it's all the way down into like the 30s. So we got hit pretty darn hard, and 700 is holding us. So we're kind of like near the bottom in my opinion. But here's what you got to look out for. If 700 doesn't hold, okay, Tesla's going to be in a critical state. We have to see this thing get a bounce off that like 690, 680 range. We have to see that. If we don't see that, this thing will drop all the way down to 650. If that doesn't hold, it could be 630. And hopefully we get a bounce there. If that isn't the case, it's possible for this thing to just keep on dropping even below its previous low. And now I think that's unlikely. I don't think it's going to keep dropping that low because one thing that's very notable are these gaps right here. Okay, Tesla has this big gap up to 773. And it's not just Tesla. Look at NEO, for example. I think NEO also formed this gap. It shows on the 2 hour. Actually, it's not showing as well. But NEO also had a gap up there. I think on the 5 minute it shows it. Yeah, so a bunch of different stocks out there have these big gaps. Right here, NEO has this gap at around $18.80. It's going to push up most likely. If you look at the SPY has this big gap around that 416 range. It's possible for the SPY to also see a nice push because if you go back to the last like 5 or so days, the SPY's low was around that 406 range. Right now, the SPY is holding around 409, 410. So I want to see the SPY hold on to this. If we can't hold it, it is possible for the market to drop. But as of right now, it's holding up pretty darn well. And I think some bullish momentum is actually a little bit more likely than us just straight up crashing on Monday. I don't really think that's going to happen. And going back down, I mean, if you look at the NASDAQ, very similar situation. And the NASDAQ seems to be in a very critical place too. So if you look at the 5 minute candles, the NASDAQ had this gap that would take it down to that 11,775 range, right? However, what's interesting about the gap, I'm sorry, the Nasdaq is we're holding up above 11,950, and we have strong support that's holding us up. It does not want us to drop. We have even stronger support at 11,900. So right now, there's no confirmation that we're just in a straight up bear rally right now. It doesn't look like we're there just yet. We're kind of like on the edge right now, but we're not just there yet. So for Tesla, what do I think is most likely going to happen for next week? Are we going to crash? It's possible. If this thing drops below that 680, it's possible. But as of right now, it looks more probable we're going to get a nice balance and we're going to actually start pushing up around Monday or Tuesday. I think there's some room left for the market to continue to rally. And I actually think it's more likely that we're quite oversold right now. And Tesla might actually get a nice bounce and it should hit that, I would say, 730, 740 range relatively soon. Now it's pretty tricky to trade this, so be on the lookout and be very careful with this. Watch your technical indicators very well. Look at that 1348 and 200 EMA, whether you're looking at crossovers or where support is holding up. Be on the lookout for what the MACD, the RSI, and all your favorite indicators are showing, whatever you like to use. Be very careful with this because we are in a critical zone. I can't necessarily promise any direction just yet, but I do think I'm a little bit more in favor of upside because of the big gaps and the fact that we held 700. So I am going to remain a lot more optimistic for next week. I don't think the market's going to crash just yet. I don't think it's going to just crash so hard for the next few days. I do think Tesla's going to actually rebound a bit. And that's essentially my view for the rest of the market. So, with that out of the way, I want to thank you all for listening. And I do apologize to you. I apologize because, look, my predictions aren't always going to be right. I know the majority of viewers, they request me to do that because if I stop doing it, I often get a lot of messages from people saying, you need to do more. We want to at least hear your opinion, whether you're right or wrong. And I understand that. But most of the time, I think my predictions are pretty accurate or kind of right, but there's a large amount of times where I've been wrong because something else comes out of the blue that I don't anticipate. So you can't always predict the market perfectly, and if you are trading, don't just trade based off predictions. When you trade based off my analysis of support and resistance levels, trade based off what the chart is telling you, trade based off what your different indicators are showing you. Okay, look at support and resistance levels. You could even study patterns. Sometimes Tesla will respect these inverse head and shoulders patterns or these falling wedges. Just learn to trade that way, stay strong, and just know I still find it a little bit more probable we see some more upside before the FOMC meeting. That's essentially my view. And with that out of the way, I want to just thank you for listening. So enjoy the rest of your weekend. Stay very strong, stay safe, and I wish the best for each and every one of you. Stay strong, never quit, Tesla to the moon, and peace out.